Welcome back, everyone, here at WCNC Plus. Let's go to the ACC tournament at the Spectrum Center. Nick Carboni is there, our sports director. Nick, we obviously saw in the first game Virginia beat NC State. Right now, I think Miami's playing Louisville. Update us where the score is at right now and what you're seeing. What are some special things about this gameplay?
Yeah, quarterfinals today in the ACC tournament, so you're getting better teams playing better teams, better players playing better players. Although we'll talk about this, a lot of the best players in the league aren't even taking the floor here in Charlotte due to injuries. But yeah, Louisville and let's see, I'm gonna have to check a screen here. Louisville's kind of extending a lead here over Miami, who I think is really good. Louisville's up 20-13. They're one of those teams, the Cardinals are, without their top player, Michael Brown, in this tournament, and we'll see if he is going to appear for them in the NCAA tournament. But long way to go in this one, just 10 minutes into the first half. This could be a battle, and we saw a really good game to start things off here on quarterfinal Thursday between NC State and Virginia. Colin, NC State, after like a big emotional win over a shorthanded Tar Heel team a couple of weeks ago, they dropped 4 straight games, but here in Charlotte, they played their best 80 minutes of basketball in weeks, beating Pittsburgh yesterday and giving Virginia a really, really good game today. A fantastic opening 20 minutes, and then in fits and starts, and really towards the close of this game, gave them a run for their money. Lost by 7, but had it just shy of a possession several times down the stretch.
Sounds like a pretty good matchups we have tonight for Duke, Florida State, right? North Carolina, Clemson. The heavy favorite, I feel like, is Duke versus Florida State, but anything can happen. It feels like the tournament is still wide open for any of these teams to make it to the championship. Mark, what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely still Duke's tournament to win, and they're gunning for their 24th, most in the conference by far. But, you know, the injuries come into play tonight as well. Of course, you got Carolina taking on Clemson in the late tip. Carolina lost star freshman Caleb Wilson several weeks ago, months ago now, with a broken hand, and now he came back and he broke the thumb on his shooting hand in practice as he attempted to come back. So the lack of Caleb Wilson in this tournament really hurts, not just Heels fans, but I think the tournament in general and the sport. But they've mitigated it pretty well without him. They go up against Clemson, who was on a backslide, but they're here in the ACC quarterfinals after a win over Wake last night, but they lost a key player. And Duke, they've got Cameron Boozer. He will be on the floor. He is the best player in this tournament, but they will be without their starting guard, Caleb Foster, who's from nearby Harrisburg. They'll be without starting big, Patrick Ngongba. And against the Florida State team, Colin, that is kind of ready to shock a lot of people, that could be tough. They actually played them pretty tough earlier this season with those aforementioned players in the lineup. So that could be a game to watch for sure, more than it probably was before, now that those two guys are out.
I stand corrected. Dukes to lose. No problem with that. I still see.
I think so. You know,
yeah, no,
you're
the expert.
Themselves a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think a lot of people are just trying to wait and see what happens. So it'll be interesting to kind of play out. Obviously, everybody's watching for Selection Sunday, and it's hard to talk about seeding when we're just in the quarterfinals. But if we see Duke and North Carolina make it through to the semis, what do you think in terms of seeding? Potentially, those two teams could end up in the ACC final, right, for the championship. That helps in their seeding type of discussion as well, I would say.
Yeah, I think Duke, no doubt, is going to be a 1 seed, and they're going to push for the overall 1 seed if they make the final or win, as we expect them to. Duke and Carolina potentially would meet in tomorrow's semifinals again, like they did last year. I think Carolina is somewhere around a 4 or 5 seed right now, maybe down to 6 if they have a poor showing tonight. Certainly in, though, especially when you consider Caleb Wilson won't be in March Madness, and then you get into the whole debate, do you factor in if your best player's out or not when it comes to seeding? I think it will matter. But Duke definitely 1 seed, pushing for number 1. NC State, I think, came into this thing not comfortable, right? They were on the bubble, kind of like teetering towards the bad side of it, but taking care of business against Pittsburgh yesterday, beating a Virginia team that's definitely a second weekend team in March Madness, competing with them, I think was a really solid showing for them here in Charlotte. They were a 10 seed, I think, based on ESPN's bracketology prior to today's game. So I think that they'll be in 10 seed, 11, 12. We'll see what fate holds for the Pack in Will Wade's first season.
All right, lots to watch. Appreciate you covering it for us. Anything else that I missed that you wanted to elaborate on?
I think that's about it. I mean, Wake Forest had a nice pop, the other day, winning a game. They're not in the tournament, but Steve Forbes sounds like he's going to get another year. I think that's probably a good thing overall. Some Wake fans may disagree, but he's a good coach, and he's had some good success there. Clemson, we've seen them push for the Final Four before. I'm not sure they have that team this year, but we'll see what they have for North Carolina tonight. But I think, the tournament, they want Friday night to be Carolina Duke, and I think that we'll get it. But who knows? We'll see what happens tonight.
All right, man. Appreciate your time. Nick Carboni reporting from the Spectrum Center.
It, bud.
We'll have more from the ACC tournament tonight. Hope you're watching WCNC Charlotte. Nick, thank you.